comparing that to God Hand, where things are not like that in God Hand. Things are very quick. God Hand is a fucking rush to play because everything comes at you so fast. You're locked into it. That your mind is just operating at the same wavelength as it. That it's going so quick. Everything is moving so fast. And other people, it's like, what the fuck is going on? They're not reading it the same way that you are. It just even the smallest little thing, like, fuck, I tapped this probably a millisecond too slow. No one is going to see that. No one's going to read that, understand that. But you being the one in there fighting and everything, you recognize it immediately, and you know you're going to get punished for it. And surely enough, in an instant, suddenly everything just goes wrong and you're fucking dead. Because someone was saying that earlier, like, why that happened? Somebody said when I was fighting the demon, how'd I end up dying? It's because we traded blows. My attack was slightly off, so we traded blows and it fucking killed me. And that's what can happen. And that is something that I really like about it, is that it's just moving so quick. I cherish that feeling in any video game when I can pull that off. When a video game can do that to you, when you feel like everything is just putting you on edge, your heart is racing because you're playing a stupid fucking video game, you just holding a controller, tapping buttons to interact with a digital character, somehow that is making you feel energized and giving you like an adrenaline rush. If something can do that to you, cherish it, because it is amazing when you can feel that. And it's why I adore that. It's why I like competitive games. Competing one-on-one with another person can do that to you. I love it. And it's why I like that game so much. I've been gushing about it all stream, I'm sorry. But I can just go on and on about God Hand forever. I really could. People say I'm too negative. Well, here you go. I even know what kind of issues people take with the game, and I don't even see them necessarily as major faults in any kind of way. I really can't complain about that game too much. Almost everything about it just works for me, and I love it. I adore it. And I can only hope that someday I can make something that could be like that, to give players that kind of rush, because it's why I adore it. And unfortunately, though, if you're going to try to make something like that, it's not going to be able to line up with general audiences, because part of the reason God Hand can offer that to somebody is because it's designed around players who want to take it that seriously. It's not a game that's accessible to just a general audience. Dark Souls is more accessible to a general audience because Dark Souls it's based around being defensive, finding openings. Everything has good weight to it. It's much slower. And because of that, it means that players can read it. They can take the time to read it. While something like God Hand, when you're playing it on level die, you have a demon teleport behind you, and you have literally like 20 frames. I'm gonna actually say less, because I was testing Bippy earlier. I finally got Bippy's combat kind of moving, so you can counterattack enemies. And Bippy has it's universal that any enemy that has an attack that you can counterattack, which means it's kind of like trading blows in God Hand. If you attack in Bippy, it's a 10 frame window, if I'm going to be honest, but the idea is the second that a move is about to connect with you, like somebody punches, the second that fist makes contact with you, if you start your own attack on that frame, you block the attack with your fist. So your attacks trade, and you interrupt their attack with your attack. That kind of thing. That's a big part of Bippy, is doing that. It's you blocking moves by attacking them on the frame that they make contact with you. That's a big part of Bitby is that. And I was testing it, and the way that it's set up right now is every enemy in Bitby, they will blink red 20 frames before the attack would make contact with you. And that it can apply to anything. If it's a move that comes out in like 10 frames, it's really quick. That means that they'll be in the middle of something and suddenly they're blinking red in the middle of that before their attack animation starts. It gives you a warning in a way that pretty much anything you should be able to read it if you have fast enough reflexes for that. But a lot of people don't have reflexes that quick. 20 frames is, I'd say probably 50% of the people that play games can respond to something in 20 frames, but if you're someone who plays fighting games, for example, Guilty Gear in specific, a lot of the pro players in Guilty Gear have reaction times of like 16 frames, 15 frames they can respond to something. Most people can't respond to a visual cue in a video game. And when I say visual cue, because people have this misunderstanding about it too. I gotta praise Matthew Matosis heavily. I'm so glad he talked about this in his Devil May Cry video because he was right on the money with it. This is true. Visual cues, people think that your reaction time to it is like, oh, like the reflex test online when the screen flashes red and you hit space as soon as it flashes red, right? No, that's not correct. Visual cues in a game that you respond to requires you to read and recognize within the environment of the game. You have to break it you have to break it apart in your mind. For example, someone's starting an animation where they're gonna punch you. You have to break that apart and recognize like, wait, shit, he's starting to swing his fist. As opposed to, sudden shock, a dramatic, my entire screen just turned red, so I can obviously respond to that quicker because you don't have to break that apart. There's nothing to break apart. It's a sudden thing that happened, and it's as dramatic as possible, so you can respond to it quicker. As opposed to something more subtle like that, you breaking apart an animation, reading in your mind, going, okay, this is what's happening, and then responding to it. Something like that typically is 20 to 25 frames for people who are playing games. 20 is for people with better reflexes. 25 frames would be probably a general audience. In Bitby, we have it set to 20 frames right now, and I might have to loosen it to 25. But it feels pretty right now because it's very immediate. It feels very snappy that you'll see an enemy blink and then you freak out like, oh fuck, they're about to hit me with something, and you start. It feels good to me right now, but I'm gonna need other people to test it. I had Julian tested. Julian actually did pretty well with it. He was blocking like every other attack that hit him. He was doing fine with it. But that's gonna be a big part of Bitby is that kind of thing. I'm hoping to get something. It's not gonna be like God Hand at all. It plays nothing like God Hand. But I want something like that. I'd like to have combat that makes you feel like you're really fighting opponents as opposed to typical platformers like, okay, he's going to repeat a pattern over and over again, then I jump on his head, then he repeats a pattern. I don't want that with Bitby at all. The idea behind Bitby is you feel like you're fighting someone. You're looking for openings, you're trying to do counterattacks and everything. You're trying to recognize patterns with how they go about fighting you. And you get rewarded for that. If you can recognize that kind of thing and respond to it immediately, you're rewarded. That's the idea behind it. I want it to feel like you're actually fighting things and it's intense. Bitby has health like Beautiful Joe, too. It's not a health meter. It's not like Mega Man. You can only take... Right now it's 4 hits. I might up it to 5 hits, but you can only take so many hits. You're only allowed so many mistakes. So it's it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Yeah, I mean that is what the counterattacks in Bitby are kind of based off of, is like parrying. in Street Fighter, for example. I mean, that's how it's working right now. It's making the same parry sound from Street Fighter 3. It's the same kind of system. It's when you press the attack button, it's 20 frames that start. There's a timer that isn't going, and as soon as you press the attack button, it sets up a timer that goes for 20 frames. And during the first, it's actually tighter than Street Fighter 3 because it's a single player game. It can afford to be tighter. But for the first 8 frames of that 20 frame timer, if any attack connects with you, you block it. You block it, and it pauses the game for 16 frames, that's Street Fighter 3. That's how they do it. And within that window, you can make another input. So if it's something that hits you repeatedly, you need to actually properly time it a certain way. You can't just mash the input. You do need to properly time it. But if you do that, if you make contact with something, you parry it properly. Let's just call it parrying. If you parry it properly, sets the timer to 0 so you can start another one. But after those first 8 frames, the timer can't be reset or anything. Like, it's still running its course. You can't parry anything anymore. And it means that now here's this window where you're completely vulnerable. You screwed up your timing. Now you're vulnerable to moves because you screwed up the timing. And you can't just mash the button or anything. You're fucked now if something is about to make contact with you. You do need to time it properly. You can't just spam it. It's what they did with Street Fighter 3. Street Fighter 3 is pretty much the same kind of thing. You tap forward. First 10 frames of you tapping forward, you can parry. Then there's 10 frames where you're not allowed to parry anymore. That's how it's working in Bippy right now. And Bippy will make it obvious if it's something that you can't actually like block necessarily. It's also, because of how it works, sometimes it's fixed areas that you have to punch directly. Like, here's this thing coming at you, but there's a set point on it that you have to punch just before it makes contact to block it. If you get hit by the other portions of it, then you're just going to take the hit. It's been fun setting it up. I've been having fun doing it. I'm excited. I'm excited to do stuff with Bippy. Are there jabs, hooks, and uppercuts? Yeah, Bippy has a jab right now, and it goes into a little combo, which it works like Mega Man X4 Zero. You can cancel it by dashing. You can cancel any of his attack animations by dashing, because I like that in Mega Man X4, and I like it in God Hand. So you can do it in Bippy. You can cancel any of your attacks by just dashing. So, but your little mini combo that Bippy has, it does more damage with the last hits in the combo. So if you're only confident you're going to be able to land so many hits, you just run the combo out. But if you have a moment that you think you could just land like 10 consecutive hits, you can just keep punching and dashing to cancel it over and over and over again and keep hitting them. But you have moves like that. You get moves like, you get an uppercut at one point. You have a few moves that boxers would have. We're basing a lot of it off actual boxing for attack animations for Bippy. And that's the whole idea. That's what we're going to be doing for bosses. Bosses will have a ton of moves. They're going to be animated very heavily, because Bippy's attacks are all very snappy. Boss moves are going to be a lot slower and more elaborate looking, for the sake of you being able to read them and respond to them. But that's going to be a big thing with bosses, is imagine Mega Man X bosses combined a little bit with like fighting game characters. So you're going to be seeing them kind of running patterns here and there, but also doing things to respond to you. Like let's say that a boss would have a move where they have an anti-air move. So if you're just jumping towards them, you can bait them into doing that. Things like that. Or you'll have them kind of jumping around trying to do setups for you. Like maybe they'll throw out a slow moving projectile or something and try to use that for the sake of spacing you and then jump towards you or something with an attack. Things like that. You'll have them doing things like that. They'll be trying to chain moves together on you and kind of fighting you in a way that makes sense for what kind of moves they have, as opposed to them just repeating patterns. It's to make it feel more like a fight, and since there's length on all of their attacks, you can read all of it as a player. It's not like a fighting game that they're gonna do mix-ups or something, and you'll be like, well, that's bullshit. It's a computer opponent just randomly doing this kind of thing. There's no way you're gonna be able to read that. It's not gonna be like that. Everything's gonna be readable to a player, but it requires you to also position yourself accordingly in fights, respond to things appropriately, not get caught off guard. There's going to be a whole lot going on to make it feel more like it's a fight than just a typical boss fight. And that's kind of the goal with Bippy's combat, is to make it feel like combat. That's the focus there. But it's a really snappy and quick moving game. The controls are very, very quick. You can do a lot with movement, and that comes into play. You can stun enemies if you keep doing like counterattacks to them. You can stun them eventually, and by doing that, you can get really creative. You can launch them into the air and start juggling them around and coming up with combos and stuff off of that. So there's going to be a lot there to have fun with in terms of combat, but there's also a lot there in terms of movement. So not only can you respond to things quickly, but there can be a lot in terms of platforming put into the game. So it's going to be a lot of fun to work on. I'm really excited to do more with it. Yeah, there's not going to be safe spots during boss fights or ways to really cheese them out. Boss fights are going to be... They're going to do that a lot, by the way. They're going to try to kind of corner you or get you pinned down. Bosses are going to be typically pretty aggressive. Some of them will be defensive because that's what their fighting style kind of relies on, but that's going to be the idea. You're not going to find sweet spots to cheese them out. It's not going to be you waiting out a pattern like, okay, he does this followed by this, or like, oh, it's Chill Penguin. He does the thing where he does the snow breath to make the penguin clones, and then he jumps up into the middle each time he does that. It's not going to play out like that all the time. It's going to be that they have all these dedicated moves given to them, and they'll sometimes just throw them out whenever they feel like it would be appropriate, or just kind of randomly do it. They'll try to get up to you sometimes and try to be really offensive, or if they have certain moves like projectiles or something, like if they have slow moving projectiles, sometimes they'll do that. If it's a boss who can rely on something like that, he'll throw a couple of them out and then try to pressure you into them or something. Things like that. It's more thought driven than boss fights would typically be in a game like that. It's not just you recognizing patterns. It's you recognizing the moves in specific that they're doing and appropriately responding to them given how the fight is kind of going. If you're backed into a corner and they're doing certain things, you need to respond to that and figure out how to kind of go about it from there, because it's not pattern based. It's not that they have fixed movement in a way like that. Like Storm Eagle come down in two spots, or do the dives at you or whatever. Storm Eagle's not a boss who can corner you or do anything to really put you in a position where it's like, oh, I set myself up for a bad spot. Now I'm going to have a trickier time with this fight for a little bit. You don't get that with Mega Man X boss fights typically. It's usually just, these are the locked positions that they'll move into usually, and there's always a way to easily respond to it. If you set yourself up for something bad in Bippy, you're usually going to have to put yourself into a much more defensive position and try to find a way out of it. It's going to be structured in a way that feels more like fighting. That's the goal. The goal is to make a game that makes it feel like you're actually fighting. No, you don't take contact damage in Bippy. Some enemies will do contact damage, but most enemies in Bippy do not. You push enemies as if it were a fighting game. So if you run into an enemy, you will push them slightly, and they can push you. So, which goes alongside the idea of comboing enemies. That's why that's there. But enemies will have attacks and everything, and almost everything has an attack that you can punch just before it makes contact with you to interrupt the attack and basically parry it. I like Sunshine. Sunshine's a fun game. I like 64 more, but I don't know why it always has such a negative reputation. I like Sunshine. Will Bippy have any sort of ranged moves? Yes, but with heavy limits applied. You're not gonna have like a free use projectile. There is a move that you end up getting which requires you to it's kind of like how plasma works in Kirby, that you tap left and right over and over again to build up power for it and then you can fire it off. Bippy gets something like that he can kind of throw an extended punch out that kind of acts like a projectile, but it requires you to do that. You have to set it up heavily to even do it. It only goes so far anyways. It's still limited range. But there is something like a projectile, yeah. There's a lot of moves you get. It's kind of, because I was juggling around the ideas there, if it's going to be like Mega Man, that you get moves that you switch between through a menu, or if it's just like Zero, that you have a button dedicated to moves, and by holding a direction you do a move. That's what I kind of opted for, is you just get a bigger move set. Bippy gets more moves, and they'll have function and practicality behind them. It's not like, oh, you use this because it's a weakness to something. They all are going to have different uses and why you'd want to have them. And they can substitute as movement options. The uppercut actually can act as like another jump, for example. I am sweating. This is probably a really boring stream. I'm sorry. But tell me this, now that I've left this going long enough, let's do a sync test. Down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 up. It's on quick game. Was that synced up perfect? It's fine. Okay, well, that's good to know at least. I'm going to have to resync the audio every single time I use the Elgato, but it seems like it stays synced up the whole time at least. Okay. Let's read more donations. The Pain Cake. Why are so many people hosting this stream? No one should be hosting this stream. Oh wait, these are old donations. I'm sorry. Well, I fucked up. I missed a lot. I'm really sweating. I feel lightheaded. God, I missed a lot. What's the donation counter at? It's at 253? What the fuck? It was at nothing before. It was at like 50. Holy shit. That's not nothing. But, oh my god, I missed so much. Okay, I'm going to turn a fan on because I'm lightheaded. And then I'm going to read all of these. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, everybody. Holy shit. I'm really sorry. I missed all of these. Oh my god. Let me grab a drink. Hang on. You should be people want to see you. Also, the Elgato works, but it's a little finicky. Sorry guys, I tried to get Julian on the stream, but he doesn't want it. But I'll read the donations now. I just need to eat a tiny bit so I'm not lightheaded. Wow. Okay, Captain Curb donated $10 and said, "I love God Hand." I'm sorry I stunk so much at it earlier. I'm really disappointed with myself for sucking so hard against those demons. Man, I really am sorry, everybody, that I was so bad at that today. They're my favorite things to fight too. They're like my favorite part of the game. I love fighting demons in God Hand. I'll try to stream it again soon. I need to figure out what to do with the Elgato to make this work better. But yeah, I really am disappointed how much I stunk. Did I get to the end of the... What killed me the first time? I'm trying to remember now. It was a demon, I'm pretty sure. I think I was a moron and got killed by it. But I handled it much better the last time, at least. I cornered the one at the beginning, which was good. I just got him on a wall combo. I was disappointed by that. The second area, sometimes you can end up getting a green demon there, which are really fun to fight. I like them more than the demons in the first level. They're really fun. They I'd say they're easier, but they're really fun because they don't shoot fireballs at you, but instead they do like this weird dive move at you that you don't have too long to respond to it, but if you sidestep it, you immediately can just turn around and beat them up for a while. And that's what I don't like about... The one thing I don't like about demon fights is that it's really annoying finding openings to attack them because they teleport around so much. It's obnoxious hoping for them to get up to you so you can attack them. And the green ones make it easier to be more offensive. Lil Herschel donated $10.87. Thank you, Lil Herschel. Brackens, no! Brackens donated $10 and said, "Take my money, you beautiful bright-eyed boy." Brackens. Suddenly Birds donated $11, said, "Just dropping by to say hey." Thank you, Suddenly Birds. Quit doing this, all of you. You've done this up before. Sparkle Cat donated $10. They said, "Hey, Ding Dong, love the stream. You drew horrible things. I remember you." Minecarts donated $10 and said, "Great stream. When are you gonna do Earthworm Jim? P.S. Does only smell like onions?" No, he doesn't smell like onions, and I would love to do Earthworm Jim 1 and 2. 2, I can very easily play through it. 1 is a little trickier because some of the levels in it are kind of hard. I like to play them. Admiral Sexington donated $40. Holy cow. Yes, fuck puppy love. I hate puppy love. I have no fun ever doing it. But, Admiral Sexington donated $40. Jesus. It said, hey, I'm very drunk. I can tell with that kind of donation. Happy or streaming, here's some cash for being entertaining when I need it. Oh. By the way, I'm sorry. Again. Because I think you just got to see it there. I have a hard time talking and playing games. I really do. So if I stream God Hand again, I may just do a really quiet stream of it. Like, I'm barely going to say a word. I'm just going to try to pay attention to the game. But that means if we play it on Oni Plays, I'd have to be quiet. We'll figure something out. Maybe we'll have Matt on for it. That could actually be pretty fun. Did my internet die? Piddle My Diddle donated $2. I don't really like videos with Matt, to be honest. Well, too bad. He's our friend. He's very funny. I can't honestly agree with that at all. I think Banjo-Kazooie has been one of our best series that we've done in the longest time. And a big part is because Matt is there. It's so easy to talk when Matt's there. Having a group of 4 just feels perfect. Matt's a funny boy. He's a funny boy. Piddle My Diddle donated $2.11 and said, my love for you is humongous. I want to kiss you. I want to hurt you on the rumpus. I see you on the computer screen. Your booty is plumpus. But alas, you're a cartoon boy. I am a simple peasant's toy. I'm sorry, do I annoy? A little bit. Oh yeah, it is dropping frames. It might just be my internet. Stefan donated $3.33 and said, don't let Julian use the chalk. Rudy has a chalk. Zaiden donated $5. Thank you, Zaiden. Baby Kino donated $5. Thank you, baby. Hyper Cyberpunk donated $5. You're the most hyper cyberpunk punk I've ever seen. And then he donated $5.66 and said, cheer up. Oh. Okay. Labyrinth donated $4.56. That's my favorite name to date. Thank you, Labyrinth. Labyrinth. He said it in 2 videos. Chris Bohr said it in 2 videos. He's really confident that's how you pronounce it. PNAD69, why would you ask that? That's really lousy. Don't bring that up. Oh, they said, gotta not bear yourself up so much and stop reading comments except my own. You're sensitive, but that okay. I hope Rockhawk can still do E3 stream though. I'd like to. I talked to Chris. We might be going to E3. I'm not sure. If we don't go in person, I 100% am going to stream it, and hopefully Rockhawk would be up for it. I hope everybody would be up for it. I'd love to do it again. It's one of my favorite things to do. I mean, it's been every single year. It's been a tradition since 2011. God, that's so weird to think about. That's so weird to think about that it's been that many years now. It's been 5, 6 E3 straight. Man, oh man. Yeah, I want to. I don't want to ever miss an E3. If we don't go to E3, we don't go to E3, we'll try to have a stream for E3, so don't worry. If we go to E3, the reason I'd want to do that in favor of a stream is because I would love to interview people there and make it uncomfortable. Cliff isn't donated $2 and they said you're a swell fella. Admiral Sexington, stop it! That's like $70 you did now. Donated $30 and said, I think I passed out. Did you read my previews? Don't worry about the stream foibles. Everyone who starts them love your stuff. Here's some cash. Come on. Come on. Did Ding Dong get drunk? No, I'm just very hot. I'm very lightheaded. I think it's a combination of me being tired, a little bit frustrated, stressed, hungry, hot. Denry donated $5 and said, I got paid yesterday and I finally get to donate. I don't have a lot of disposable income to splash around, but I just want you, Julian, and Chris to know Only Plays is a really good thing in my life, and I'm glad you guys do it. Well, thank you, Denry. Scabadoodle, stop! Scabadoodle donated $10. Snail Gazer donated $1. Sorry I couldn't donate more. Love your stuff. Only Plays has inspired me to start YouTubing. And you've inspired me to pursue game design with more drive. I got nervous because I read the middle part and I was like, oh no, don't do Let's Plays. You should try to pick up on like, I don't know, a trade of some sort. Don't fall back on the Let's Plays, but then you said the last part. So I feel a little bit better. I'll say that everybody, please be encouraged to make things. Draw, make games, do something. Let's Plays are not the way to go. It's I hope people have ideas and want to put them out there. Isabel Isabel Melhem, you've been donating every stream. It said, have a good day, my man. Oh. I'm in a game design development college program. Oh no, are you? That might do bad things for you. Depending on what kind of course it is. If it's like specifically a game design college, a lot of companies will not hire people who went to schools like that. So you might want to be careful. If it's just like courses you're taking at a college, but you're also going to a college just in general to get like a degree in computer science or something, that's fine. If it's like a special college like that though. I remember one of the companies I worked at, they told me about that. And then I remember even Valve like made a statement about that, how they don't hire people who went to schools like that. DigiPen I think is one that's at least acceptable to people. There's certain schools like game design schools that they don't do anything for you really, and there was one I remember was in Chicago that was just kind of a scam. They didn't teach anyone to program or anything. All it did was, oh, this is what it's like to work with a group. And I remember that was like a school that was just on a blacklist in a lot of places. Yes, that's Julian. Ryan Matian said, good talking. Always enjoy live streams. Is there going to be a Bubba Fest this year? I'd like to. I'd like to do another Bubba Fest. It's just up to... It's if everybody has time for it. Hey, welcome back to the stream after your 2-hour shift. I'm sorry you had to see me suck a fat one at a God Hand. Wolffang donated $2.34 and said, can't afford much currently, but still wanted to toss something your way. Always love hearing what you have to say. A few more do of them. What? Hope you do more of them. Hope you more do of them. Thank you, Wolffang. Thank you, Tasty. $3, Tasty said. Crash I didn't do too much of because I guess the Elgato's just kind of fucked anyways. That would actually explain a lot because God Hand was acting kind of iffy while playing it. I think I just need to mess with settings on it. I don't want to blame any of that for why I was sucking so much at God Hand, but the Elgato is kind of weird right now. I'm gonna have to go into the settings and try to adjust it, I think. Tasty donated $3 and said, remember in Mega Man X you mentioned doing a race with Aaron? You reckon that would ever happen? Aaron said he wanted to way back. But I imagine he's just too busy or wouldn't be interested anymore. I'd be completely up for it. It'd be fun. Ty Grump donated $10. Lizard Wizard donated $5 and said, "A view on Oni plays in your stream super comfy. I was wondering, what's your opinion on Western RPGs like Fallout, Elder Scrolls, KOTOR? They're my favorites. I wonder what you think of them." I really like Morrowind in specific. I really enjoyed a lot. What happened? What?
I thought you said the meat was in the refrigerator.
It was, wasn't it?
It was in the freezer. It's frozen solid.
Did you put it back in the freezer?
Yes.
I put it in the fridge.
You can't leave it in there for like 3 days.
It wasn't for 3 days. Julian, don't make a scene.
I don't know what we do now. I
Th-
just put all the noodles in.
You thaw it out.
I guess I'm just gonna have to put it in the thing like
Just
this.
run it under hot water.
It's not gonna work. It's a brick. It's a
Brickleberry?
It's a big brick.
Brickleberry?
It's a brick. It's a brick. Whatever. I'll just work with it like this. It'll take a while.
But I really like Morrowind. I didn't care too much for Oblivion or Skyrim. Morrowind I really enjoyed though. Fallout 1 and 2 I fucking love. But 3 didn't do really anything for me. Neither did 4 was kind of disappointing. I'm surprised people... Well, I mean, no one's talking about it anymore. But I was surprised people were kind of opening up after like a week of its release. Like, yeah, this isn't that great, is it? I didn't think anyone was going to be honest about it like that. Because people were blown away by 3, even though I kind of felt like it was a step in the wrong direction. It's because they really they wanted to get it on console for a long time. When it was through Interplay. Interplay really wanted to target consoles, and it was probably what they wanted to do with Fallout. It was like, okay, we have this now, we got the property back. Let's do it. Let's try to figure out a way to make this work so we can get it on consoles and be successful on consoles finally. But I really enjoyed 1 and 2 a lot. I love Fallout 1 and 2. I never got to do New Vegas though. I heard amazing things about New Vegas because that's at least the original team. They had a lot of the same people involved with that one, as opposed to 3. Julian, is everything okay? It kind of smells in there.
That's
Are you okay?
great. No.
I'm sorry. Sparkle Cat donated $5. What?
That's why it can't be in the freezer or in the fridge for.
Julian, you put it back in the freezer. I had it in the fridge. Lizard Wizard donated $5 and said, "Hey, love you on Oni plays and your stream are super comfy. I was wondering what your... Oh wait, I read that. Sparkle Cat donated $5 and said, "Hey Ding Dong, you plan on doing another Tuesday again, or is that fun joke over?" Yes, we'll do it again, but I'm going to be very selective about what I end up retweeting. Although every week you've ended up doing a funny one, so I've retweeted it anyways. Yes, Tuesday will still be a thing. I don't want to wave it around or parade it as much. I feel bad about it. I don't like flooding. I don't like flooding timelines. Why is everyone taking the piss on Zach? Because Homer Saturday was made as a response to Cutie Saturday, and the idea is like, hey, this is annoying, right? So let's do this one. Except it ends up that now you have two annoying things. If you thought the other one was annoying, now you have two annoying things, and you don't get to read anything on Twitter because your whole timeline is being flooded. I understand the annoyances that come from it. Not to mention, Zach actually retweets more for Homer Saturday than Aaron was doing for Cutie Saturday. So it's kind of going the wrong way as a joke, I feel like. But I'm fine with both of them existing, honestly. I have no problems with them. It's just I'm going to mute the hashtags anyways because I like being able to read things during the day. I don't like that I have to give an entire day up to not seeing anything happen like that. But I don't want that happening with Tuesdays is the thing for me. I feel really bad about clogging my own timeline with that. Especially because it was a joke to begin with. But there were people doing good art and everything. So, and some of them were pretty funny, so I don't know. I'll keep doing Tuesday. I'm giving the warning, like I'm gonna be kind of more choosy about it. I'm not gonna wave it around as much. I'm still gonna probably I'm gonna like almost everything that gets posted to it because people always do good stuff. It's that I'm probably not gonna retweet every single one. Jillian Murderface donated $666 and said, "Happy Saturday. Would you guys ever consider playing Katamari?" Absolutely, but I don't think it's a game that Chris would care for. Golden Cricket donated $10 and said, "Ugh, I am absolutely trash, but listening to you talk about video games makes me feel like tacos." What was going on with that earlier, by the way? When I was playing God Hand, I was looking at the chat, and everyone was getting, like, really nasty for a little bit. Yeah, here we go. Everybody's gonna bring up the frog now. Lynn Khalil donated $5, so thank you for making me laugh. Also, I dare you to sing live on stream. That's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. That's what I figured. It's Saturday, so it's a bunch of little kids. I think it's why I was more grumpy while playing God Hand than I should have been too, because I was seeing the chat and everyone was the blackjack thing was just like, really? We're gonna be doing that? Reading a chat and just mashing the X button, not paying any attention, and having people criticize how blackjack is being played. That was something. Christian Esperanza. A likely story. You were kidding? You were kidding? Yeah, right. Shiverjaw donated $5. It's a 5 buckaroos for a very special boy. Now get you some high quality mics. I really do need them. Shotgun Holiday donated $10 and said, "Killing you with donations." Oh, don't do that. 3 Soups donated $7.29 and said, "Have my worthless Canada money. Love you." Yeah, that's gonna convert to less money, isn't it? I think about that. Oh, poor Canada. Duck G's 69 donated $5.05 and said, "Stop beating yourself up. Also say the N-word for me, please." No.